Hello, everybody, to another edition, our ninth edition of the India Symposium 2021. Before I give the floor for a welcome speech to Dr. Vikas Chaturvedi, I would just like to mention that each of the speakers will be presenting their presentation, and I will also be keeping track of the time. So for the speakers, let me just tell you, I will give you a 2-minute warning when your time is up so that we can keep within the time limit. Thank you. I hope you enjoy this audition, and I give the floor to Dr. Vikas Chaturvedi, Chairman, Icai Netherlands Chapter. The floor is yours, Vikas.
Thank you, Prachi. Good morning to friends from Europe, and good afternoon to friends who are joining from India. Friends, on behalf of ICAI Netherlands Chapter, I welcome you all to the 9th edition of our India Symposium. Friends, the symposium is supported by Indo-Dutch Financial Corridor, Netherlands Foreign Investment Agency, which is an arm of the Ministry of Economic Affairs Netherlands, and very happy to inform you all that the official state partner for this symposium is Haryana government. It's the first time, friends, it has happened that we have partnered with a state, Indian state, to promote the business activities between India and that particular Netherlands and that particular state. So for this time, for this symposium, we have Haryana. So very happy to collaborate with Haryana government. Friends, the theme of today's symposium, as you all are aware, is on discussing the fintech and AI opportunities that exist between India and the Netherlands. And also, as rightly the title says, it's the new kids on the block, fintech and AI. Friends, in today's symposium, like previous symposiums that we have done, we have got a galaxy of speakers who are going to address the opportunities in fintech and AI space between India and Netherlands. So I'm very happy to inform all of you that this is the first time in our symposium that 4 CEOs, 4 co-founders of the companies are going to share basically their insights on fintech and AI between India and the Netherlands opportunities. Friends, in the symposium, we will have the special address by our own dynamic president of ICI, Sri Nihar Jamusare. I welcome him to this symposium. Welcome, sir. Then, friends, we have the keynote speech, which will be given by the Indian ambassador to the Netherlands, His Excellency Shri Pradeep Rawatji. So I welcome the Indian ambassador to this symposium. To make this event even more special, to make the symposium even more special, friends, we have launching of 2 representative offices in Europe. So the launch we are going to do is for ICI Sweden representative office, Stockholm, and then ICI Denmark, Copenhagen representative office. So it's with great joy, friends, I'm delighted to share that it's the 10th country where we will have presence within Europe so far as ICI is concerned. And to give a insight on how the ICI global presence is supporting the self-reliance on India, we have Shri Mahavir Singhviji, who is the Joint Secretary at Ministry of External Affairs, who will give it. And
Vikas, you're on mute. You've gone on mute.
Yeah. So we have the head of IT of the state of Haryana, Shri Munish Chandanji, who is going to give his insights on what are the opportunities existing in Haryana state government for companies from European Union. So friends, all in all, I welcome all of you to this 9th edition. I'm very happy to bring this edition to all of you along with the host of team that has been involved in making the symposium a success. Prachi is going to be the moderator for the symposium. So thank you, Prachi, for taking the lead. And I'm sure it is in the safe hands insofar as timings are concerned, because we have a galaxy of speakers who are going to address the issues in the next 2 hours. So friends, with this, I welcome you all once again, and I wish you all a very nice and successful symposium. Prachi, over to you for next speaker. Thank you.
Thank you, Vikas, for these welcoming words. I would like to now invite the president of ICI, Mr. Nihar Ranjan Jammusharia. He will be speaking on the role of accountants in artificial intelligence and fintech. Sir, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Prachiji. Good morning, everybody. His Excellency, Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rawat, Ambassador of India to the Kingdom of Netherlands, CM Mahavir Singhviji, Joint Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs, Government of India, CA Dr. Vikas Chaturvediji, Chairman of the Netherlands Chapter, Rajeshji, Prachiji, Bhargavji, Munishji, and members of Stockholm and Copenhagen. It's a matter of great joy today that with efforts put in and promises given by Vikasji in the past that he will increase the number of chapters to a large number in Europe. And today, again, this is a stepping stone that 2 representative offices are being inaugurated, Stockholm, Sweden, and Copenhagen, Denmark. So 2 more, I would rather say 2 more chapters are being added, because ultimately in a short time, they will reach a stage where they will be converted into chapters. And more particularly, let me mention, along with the warm welcome that we give to the members of Stockholm and Copenhagen, that once you are converted into chapter, you will also enjoy the special status which, with the efforts of Mahavir Singhviji, the Ministry of External Affairs has given to the ICI chapters in the foreign countries at par with FICCI CII. And you will also have the benefit of this equivalent status. I'm sure that the Netherlands chapter is taking advantage of it for the win-win situation to be created both for Europe as well as India. And the new chapters will have that benefit in the future when they are converted into chapters. So welcome to the family of overseas chapters of ICI, and let us collectively do something which is for the interest of the profession together. Coming to today's symposium, it is the 9th edition of online symposium that the Netherlands chapter organizes every year. And the subject that has been selected, particularly you are doing it with Haryana government, that is a great thing to happen. And even Haryana government will, through Munishji, let us know what are the opportunities for European investors in Haryana particularly. Fintech and artificial intelligence particularly, I think you have selected a topic which is the order of the day. Today, any profession will survive only if it has embraced technology completely. We are all aware, and we are seeing it visibly in last 2 years, that so many human functions are being taken over by technology, and human role in some of the decision making is reducing. So at this point of time, unless and until we are on top of artificial intelligence, robotic processes, and we use the data analytics tools which are available, we will not be able to run our profession successfully, and we will not be able to progress. There were apprehensions about disruptions in the profession, but they are all, according to me, not in place. Actually, technology has always helped us grow at a faster pace. And even these new technologies, the type of tools that they are providing to us in carrying out our decision making, they will certainly take us to next level. And more than the jobs that it will disrupt, that is the routine compliance functions, more than this, it will create new jobs. And these new jobs will be more will give us more job satisfaction, will be more remunerative, and will increase our speed very substantially. Very recently, for audit, many big firms were already using audit tools, and we felt at the institute that we must provide these tools to every small firm. The reason being, time has come when it is impossible to manually audit the accounts. And so is the case in the area of finance. If decisions are to be taken at right time, fast, quick, and right decisions, then technology is the only option available today. Because in the area of finance also, so many opportunities come our way that it is impossible to evaluate all of them manually. And all these artificial intelligence and data analytics tools will come to our rescue. At right time, right topic has been selected. I'm sure that every participant today will have great value add. So we have 2 occasions to celebrate: the opening of 2 representative offices in Europe and a webinar or symposium on a topic which is so relevant for our future growth. Thank you so much for inviting me, and congratulations and all the best. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, Mr. President. Thank you very much for your words and for your enlightening words on how this also comes together in the field of work with a lot of ICI members obviously deal with every day, and how we can marry the two. On the one hand, the launch, on the other hand, the topic of this particular symposium. Thank you very much for your time. I continue now with this to launch these representative offices that the President already spoke about, and Vikas did as well. So Rajesh Ji, I would like to give you the floor. Mr. Rajesh Gandhi is the Nodal Officer for ICI Sweden in Stockholm, and he will be heading the ICI Sweden Representative Office. The floor is yours, Rajesh Ji. Please take us through your launch.
Thank you. Thank you for all your support. I have created a small video, so I will share my screen.
Please do.
Namaste and good day. I am Rajesh Gandhi, living and working in Sweden. On behalf of Representative Office, Stockholm, Sweden, I welcome President Sir, other speakers, and all who are watching this virtual event, which is about fintech and artificial intelligence, including RO launch for Sweden and Denmark. I am extremely delighted and would like to congratulate CA fraternity in Sweden for this first step in building ICAI presence in Sweden as a representative office, Stockholm. There is a long history of trade and cultural relationship between India and Sweden, which may go back to Nobel Prize to Sri Rabindranath Tagore in 1914. Sweden is well known for Nobel Prize, the famous music band ABBA, furniture giant Icai, and renowned car brand Volvo, and many more. There are many Swedish companies operating and having manufacturing footprint in India, and similarly, there are many Indian companies having operations in Sweden. There was a bilateral trade of almost $4.5 billion in 2019, which gives a clear sign of importance of trade relationship. There are more than 50,000 Indians living in Sweden, and approximately 10,000 are working in IT and ITES sector. Looking at the size of service sector and business in Sweden, I am convinced that there are many more opportunities for fresh and experienced chartered accountants in Sweden. I would like to introduce the RO team members of Sweden here. We started this journey sometime back in August, September. Despite this pandemic and other challenges where you cannot meet people physically due to restrictions, I'm delighted that we are now about 65 ICAI members in Sweden and we all are connected via WhatsApp group. As ICAI members, we as RO team commit to promote CA as a brand in Sweden by doing more engagement, using social media, or attending virtual events, and using various ICAI platforms. We also see good opportunities to collaborate with local accounting body, other ROs and chapters in Europe and across the world, where we can share knowledge and best practices. I firmly believe with the support of ICAI and CAs in Sweden, we can work on establishing a chapter in Sweden, which can really benefit and all the CA members living in Sweden. We at RO also think that we need support from ICAI to help in engaging with local accounting body for mutual recognition and also providing cooperation in the areas of accounting, auditing, reporting. We also see the possibilities to work towards recognition of CA qualification by universities to facilitate further studies. This will also support and enable future CAs who are aspiring to move in this part of world for education or work. We also see possibilities to engage with Embassy of India and local trade bodies for supporting bilateral trade and commerce. On behalf of RO Team Sweden, I am thankful to President Sir, CA Muditji, CA Vikasji, and International Affairs Committee for their guidance and high engagement, and we seek their support for future endeavors. Enjoy the upcoming sessions. Thank you.
Thank you, Rajesh Ji, for this fantastic launch. And I would like to personally congratulate you with this. And one, of course, company that we've all been witnessing, many of us have been witnessing, that's Swedish, is Spotify. Obviously, with Spotify Wrapped going around the world, I think that's one of the brilliant issues that we've seen with artificial intelligence. Thank you once again, and we wish you all the best for the coming upcoming years. And now I would like to move to the launch of ICAI Denmark.
For participating in this great event of launching Denmark office. So similar to what Rajesh did, I also made one video which I would like to share with you.
Please go ahead and share your screen then.
Yeah. Just a second. Can you see my video?
Yes, we can see. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Please started. I'm not hearing any sound. If that was,
okay.
If there's...
Oh, sorry. I thought it's also with the sound. Just a second.
सर साउंड अगेन सर ऑडियो साउंड जॉइन ऑडियो नीचे सर देखिए जॉइन ऑडियो करकन होगा
ओके ओके
उसको क्लिक कीजिए सर हाँ नीचे सर नीचे सर्कल में सबसे लास्ट में कोने में सर ज्वाइन ऑडियो
एट द वेरी बॉटम
नो सर शेयरिंग में स्टॉप कीजिए सर नो सर शेयरिंग स्टॉप कर दीजिए पहले स्टॉप शेयरिंग अगेन शेयरिंग
share sound okay
sharing, okay. Include sharing sound sir. Yes
thank you. Is it audible now?
Yes
okay yes, thank you yes. Thank you. Namaste to everyone. Myself CA Bhargav Padhya, based at Copenhagen in Denmark. I hope you and your beloved ones are keeping healthy and safe. Firstly, I would like to congratulate team of RO in Sweden for their efforts for successful launch of RO office. I am really excited for the virtual launching of representative office of ICAI in Denmark. I would like to extend my sincere gratitude and warm welcome to everyone present in the launching of RO office of ICAI in Denmark. We at RO office of ICAI in Denmark is very excited to be part of very important milestone in the journey of setting a formal footprint globally by ICAI and expanding its presence to Scandinavian countries such as Denmark and Sweden. We at RO in Denmark are firmly committed to set up a strong network between chartered accountants in Denmark and also to collaborate with other ROs, chapters, institutes in India, Europe and other parts of the world. With launch of representative office of ICAI in Denmark, we hope to foster ever-going bilateral relationship between India and Denmark even stronger. There are around 25 chartered accountants in Denmark, and due to strong ties between India and Denmark through multinational companies, number of CAs contributing towards growth of Denmark will increase even more. RO of ICAI in Denmark is committed to collaborate with local accounting body to establish knowledge sharing and professional opportunity sharing platform for the members, introducing social media page with regular content updates and useful information from ICAI to its members. I am extremely delighted to be part of this initiative and thankful to everyone who contributed in the formation of RO office of ICAI in Denmark. I hope we will have ICAI chapter in near future together with many more milestones on this journey together. Thank you very much and have a great symposium ahead.
Thank you. Thank you, Bhargav, for this wonderful launch and giving us a snap view of Denmark, a lovely country, and the second one now in the Scandinavia. So we look forward to see your progress the coming time, and we congratulate you as well. And thank you very much for presenting your presentation.
Thank you so much.
Now I continue on to our keynote speech. It will be held with His Excellency Mr. Pradeep Kumar Rawat, Ambassador of India to the Kingdom of the Netherlands. He will speak on the update on the latest developments between India and the Netherlands. Sir, we welcome you heartily to our this edition of India Symposium, and thank you very much for taking out the time. And the floor is yours.
Thank you, Prachi. First of all, let me congratulate the two new representative office, because it's always we are always very happy when we see more and more of our compatriot doing well and trying to create organizations which can help not only the people who are already there, but could also help more business opportunities. So in that, it's a very welcome development. Again, would like to thank ICAI for organizing the 9th India Symposium, and more importantly, for choosing a theme which is on everybody's mind. These buzzwords, fintech and AI, though you call it as a new kid on the block, but I suppose it has been in the air for quite some time now. The only thing is that we are now seeing the visible impact of these two technologies. So I would say that it's a very useful theme that you have selected. I would also like to thank the president of ICAI for highlighting because we always have this challenge that more technology means maybe more challenges, which is right. And the other part of the equation which troubles us, whether more technology will mean less work. In that sense, I think he's right that more technology may mean less work in a particular geography, but because of technology, your geography keeps expanding. Eventually, you end up getting more work. So earlier, maybe you were doing work only in Haryana, but with technology, maybe you can be pan-Indian. And what we are seeing that you are becoming pan-global. So before I go into India and Netherlands, I think there is one thought that whether the time has come for us to look at having a truly global company of, for auditors, in a sense, which is maybe based out of India, given that we are spread all over the world. The CA which come out of India, they have experience of different regulatory systems, like you're working in Sweden, you know the regulatory system there, Denmark, Netherlands, all over the world. Whether a time has come for us in this time, try to create a truly global company, like we have seen in, say, IT services sector. So it's just a thought. I feel that if we can do that, and Netherlands could be a good place for that, because one, it's very innovative, open society, willing to experiment. It's well located, very connected in terms of the trading networks, in terms of the financial networks. If we look in terms of India, Netherlands, Netherlands is a big investor into India, but is also a big attractor of capital out of India into other parts of the world. So it could be a good place for us to experiment in creating a global financial auditing company out of India. Now, in terms of bilateral relations, as all of you know that India and Netherlands, our relationship is very diversified. It goes into all dimensions. And one good thing which we are seeing is that in the services sector, our trade is also growing quite rapidly. I have a statistics which shows that in the last 5 years, our exports of services from India has grown by 61%, but in two sectors which are very relevant for AI and Fintech, which is telecommunication and computer services. This has grown by 226%, which is suggests that we are doing quite a lot of joint work, either supporting or working with companies in Netherlands, which eventually are getting inputs into different areas, and Fintech as well as AI would certainly be important areas in that. We do have very good bilateral high-level exchanges. As you know that we had a summit, digital summit in April, and we were, if I'm not mistaken, that was possibly the first such virtual summit by Prime Minister Rutte with any country after his successful election victory. So even before we had a government, we actually were engaging with the prospective government in the Netherlands. And that meeting was very successful because it further upgraded the triad of agenda of cooperation. As you know, that our agenda is water, agriculture, health. So we upgraded our cooperation in water sector to strategic level. One good thing about India-Netherlands cooperation is that our agenda of bilateral engagement is cross-sectoral. It's also spread over whole of Indian geography, but also it has, I would say, is quite impactful in socio-economic dimension. It touches a large number of SDGs. As you know, water, agriculture, health, it cuts across many SDGs. So it's a very good agenda. But beneath this agenda, we also have a very strong technological agenda, I would say. If you look the priorities in tech sector, and if you look in terms of priorities of high-tech sector in Netherlands, you find quite a big overlap. For example, quantum computing is very high on Dutch agenda. It's also very high on Indian agenda. Artificial intelligence, fintech, in addition to new materials and many other technologies. And one good thing which is helping us to connect companies as well as stakeholders in public sector is a large number of Indian IT talent being present in Netherlands. Almost all our major players are present in the Netherlands. So that becomes a very good connect. The second important factor is a large number of Indian students in the technology universities in the Netherlands. For example, if you look at, say, Delft University, number of Indian students who are in master's, PhD, and now also in bachelor courses will number maybe more than 1,000. Now, with that kind of, you can say, research population coming from India, it's a very fertile ground for us to look at the problems in India and find solutions which are devised with keeping Indian conditions in mind. It's always easy to find a solution which is, say, from a developed society's point of view. And many a time we find that they don't work because they miss certain key assumptions. But when these Indian students coming from all kinds of backgrounds are working on these technologies, it does help. What we are not able to do is to leverage it fully. And I hope that in years to come, we would be able to leverage it fully. The Indian students who are coming from all over India, from different universities, should lead to more vibrant university to university linkages. That means the research labs in Indian universities working with research labs in Dutch universities, that would bring quite a big revolution in my mind in creating technologies which are relevant for India, which are also relevant for Europe, but more importantly are relevant for a large part of the world, which is even today is untouched by many of these key technologies. So that is one area that we can work on together. Trade and investment, as I mentioned, that Netherlands is a huge partner for us. We are working with them. They are very supportive of India's deeper engagement with EU. And Prachi, please tell me when I'm overshooting my time.
I was about to interrupt you, sir. Your time is nearly up. So if you can just round up.
Yeah, so what I would say that there is a lot of possibilities for us using the Indian student population, Indian diaspora, Indian tech talent to not only work in the fintech, AI, but also in sectors which are not so eye-catching, not so like very basic, like agriculture. But when we put technology into it, it becomes smart agriculture. So you can find solutions, water-related solutions relating to overuse of pesticides, fertilizer, etc., which could be helpful for our own people, but also helpful for the larger world. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Your Excellency, and thank you for putting together the entire gamut of what happens between India and the Netherlands, but also really taking the artificial intelligence and fintech on board. And I'm sure your views will be very useful for us to take this process further. And yes, maybe we can have a worldwide, a firm coming out of India that is a worldwide global firm for CAs. Look forward. Thank you very much once again for your time. And I would now like to go to the next speaker, with your permission. That will be on artificial intelligence and doing business, India, Netherlands, Mr. Arnoud Besselink. He's the Executive Director for India, Netherlands Foreign Investment Agency, the NFAA, and also one of our partners for this event. So Arnoud, thank you very much for your support, and the floor is yours.
Thank you so much, Prachi. And may I say that you're doing an excellent job in keeping all the speeches very timely and short. It's a pleasure being here. I'm speaking out of Goa. I'm very lucky to be in Goa at the moment. But I would like to congratulate the organization, ICIA, for organizing this 9th event. Very good. And I'd like to thank you, Prachi, and my friend Vikas for inviting me today. It's also good to see our Indian ambassador in the Netherlands. Hope he's doing good, I see. So that's a very good start. Let me try to share my screen with you. Here we go. It almost works. Sorry, I'm doing slideshow. Yes. So.
Yes, thank you, Arnold. It's visible.
It works, right? I also included a little video, so let's hope that works. I never do that, but for artificial intelligence.
In some innovation, so let us
yes, let's see. So good afternoon, everybody. My name is Arnoud Besselink. I'm the Executive Director for the Netherlands Foreign Investment Agency. We are an organization existing more than 40 years now. We are a part of the Ministry of Economic Affairs from the Dutch government. And basically what we do is we help Indian companies with setting up their shop, as we call it, their operations in the Netherlands. We are leading in that. We have 3 offices in India, and we basically scout out those companies that we find interesting to establish themselves in the Netherlands, but also those companies who we find would contribute to the Dutch economy. We have the luxury of being a little bit more selective nowadays. But rest assured, companies in the field of financial technology, AI, robotics, we all welcome you in our country at the moment. What do? We make connections. We inform you about regulations, tax situation, anything you need. We connect you with service providers if necessary for your setup, but also your payrolling, for example. We organize fact-finding trips. So what we would love to see Indian companies do is visit the Netherlands. For those who haven't been there, it's an amazing country. It's a small country. I will tell something about that later on. But to see it with your own eyes, a lot of things are happening, as the ambassador just mentioned. We have a strong relationship with India, and it shows because at the moment, we have more than 300 Indian entities in the Netherlands, and we're adding 20 to 30 every year. I think today is also a nice thing that 2 of the newest establishments are speaking to you today, Adverb and Charge B. We were lucky to be able to assist both companies with their operations in the Netherlands. Having said that, why do companies choose the Netherlands? I am very fortunate to speak to over 200 Indian companies every year. And this is not the outcome of those talks, but this is the IMD World Competitives online. and they provided us with an overview on which elements in the Dutch business culture are favorable, are attractive for foreign companies to invest in the Netherlands. I'm not going to touch them all, but we have a highly educated workforce. Most people speak English. We are business friendly. I will tell something more about in a minute. We have a stable economic and political system. At the moment, we're still waiting for the new government. But as it shows in the newspapers, it will come soon. But the Netherlands is stable. We always do things gradually. Large changes like you have, for example, in the US with elections do not happen in the Netherlands because we always have a coalition which has a broad base, and major changes in, for example, the tax system won't happen fast in the Netherlands. So that's easy for business. We have an open and positive attitude to businesses, but also to businesses from out of the Netherlands itself. It's a dynamic economy. So if you look at why companies go to the Netherlands, well, as you see on the little map, we are a small country, but we are strategically located in the western part of the Netherlands. Port of Rotterdam, Schiphol Airport connect us to the rest of the world, and that makes the Netherlands just an excellent place to do business all over the world. It's an open climate. I do have to tell you that you have to pay taxes in the Netherlands. Unfortunately, I wish it wasn't. But I think Vikas Chaturvedi can tell you more about the tax system that we have. It's competitive and it's lucrative for foreign companies that send people over to our country. Again, highly educated workforce. Cost-wise, you see that the Netherlands is quite favorable compared to the UK and to Germany. I have to say, when it comes to Indian companies, those two countries are our competitors. Being UK the largest, also because of the fact that there's a history there. And Germany has, of course, its manufacturing industry. But in the middle is the Netherlands, and I think we are an excellent starting place, but also a place where you can try out things. So this is, let's see if this works. I hope it works. I'm now going to show you something about IA in the Netherlands. It's a very brief. So let me move on.
Arnold, I'm going to sorry to interrupt you. Can I give you another 2 minutes to finish off a few?
Good. Excellent. Three things that pop out, right? Triple helix, we have government, we have research institutions, and we have businesses working all together in the field of AI. That really makes the Netherlands an excellent location. Triple helix, but beside that, it's all about talent. nowadays. Can you find the right people to work with you? And you need an ecosystem where you can thrive and where you can work together with companies. The Netherlands is a good place. Well, this is a testimony. Please search it up later on. If you look at who's there, it's amazing. We have over 600 startups working in the field of artificial intelligence. As mentioned, Adverb is one of them now. ChargeBee is one of them now. It makes the Netherlands the place to be. Also, if you look at all the universities that are active in the field of AI, 4 out of 10 worldwide best universities in this field are located in the Netherlands. And again, a small country, very dense. So wherever you are in the Netherlands, you're in touch with one of the ecosystems that we have. Needless to say, we're excellent connected. The intercontinental cables with internet are arriving in Amsterdam, so there's almost no latency. It's a good playing field. Amsterdam is the largest internet exchange almost worldwide. That's the reason why most of the Fortune 500 companies are located in that area. But again, the Netherlands is small. Cities like Utrecht, The Hague, Rotterdam, Eindhoven, they all have something to offer in this field. Again, done. We will help you. So please reach out to our organization, either in Mumbai, Delhi, or Bangalore. I think Mr. Chaturvedi knows us well. So if we can do anything for you as a company in your plans of setting up in the Netherlands, please let us know. That's it, Prachi.
Thank you, Arnoud, for a great landscape of what the Netherlands has to offer, both business-wise and AI-wise. I think it's a wonderful overview, and I'm sure a lot of our viewers will have now got a full picture. Well, thank you once again. I will now move on to a company that you mentioned, who is very much made use of this orange carpet treatment of yours and is now established in the Netherlands. I would like to give the floor to Mr. Amit Kumar, co-founder. Could you stop? Sorry, before I finish, Arnold, could you please stop sharing your screen? That would, yeah. Thank you. Mr. Amit Kumar, co-founder Adverb Technologies. He'll be speaking on robotics and automation solutions. Amit, the floor is yours. Thank you for being.
Thank you, Prachi. And thanks, first of all, to ICAI for inviting me. And thanks to NFIA also for making our journey successful and making us established in Netherlands. So I finally moved to Netherlands, yes. So we are a robotics and automation company where we develop robots for warehouse automation. But related to the topic artificial intelligence, I'll give a brief about how the industry has moved, where we are, and what role artificial intelligence is playing. I'll give a few examples also during this presentation. I'll try to cover in less than 10 minutes itself. So I'll share my screen. Yes, let me see. Okay. I hope you will be able to.
Yes, I can see your screen if you make it like. Yes, thank you. Very clear.
Yes. So now, first of all, I'll talk about the journey as said. So there have been 4 industrial revolutions, and we are in what is called Industry 4.0. Industry 1.0 was when actually the steam and water power came into. So the steam engine, first steam engine was Industry 1.0. Then we saw first mass production, so led by the car industry, the vehicle industry, the auto industry. It was Industry 2.0. Industry 3.0 is when I started my career, it was Industry 3.0, which was going on. So we saw first time computers coming into factories, coming into warehouses. So IT systems were getting into manufacturing. And Industry 4.0 is when we started this company 5 years ago, when we were seeing the cusp that, okay, Industry 4.0 is there, where the boundaries between cyber and physical world were diminishing. So basically, you had factories which were running on their own. So people are developing systems. I'll focus on autonomous systems because this is related to artificial intelligence. So there's a lot of focus on autonomous systems. Now we see the Teslas running on the road. This is what Industry 4.0 has brought: autonomous systems. Now, to define autonomous systems more, I'll talk about artificial intelligence. So we are 16, 17 people in this meeting. You'll see that everybody has a different understanding of artificial intelligence. My understanding is that if a system, equipment, a software, or a machine is able to take decisions like a human being, it is an artificial intelligence that has been built on it. It is it is not as simple as I put it. There is a lot of data. There is a lot of data to information conversion. There is a lot of real-time information that is being captured to make systems autonomous. As of today, we see a lot of warehouses which are called blackout warehouses, where there is no need of lighting or ventilation or fans, because there are no human beings. So we are reaching that stage that the autonomous systems are taking a lot of laborious work in warehouses and factories. So based on this, we started this company with a vision that we'll build such systems in India, and we grew at a pace that we have offices across the world now, selling it in Europe, in US, in Southeast Asia, Australia, everywhere. So now from that perspective, these autonomous systems, how they have developed, I'll get into that. What artificial intelligence is doing now in these systems. So yes, so what is the automation we are trying to achieve is what I said: cyber physical involvement, which the boundaries are getting diminished, such that what you are thinking is getting executed in a warehouse is what a cyber physical integration. The ultimate goal will be you think and that get executed. So this is what we are reaching. So all this has led to a lot of futuristic technologies, which I'm going to talk about. First is a robot which works like a Tesla or autonomous car inside a warehouse, picks material from one end and take it to another point. So from A to B, it works on its own. It looks around. It takes decision on its own that now there is an obstruction. I have to take left or right. So it has its own engineering brain, which can make it work with human beings. It is safe for human beings. All the safety parameters are there. There is something which one of the low-key work was picking material from one place and taking it to other inside a warehouse. There were a lot of conveyor systems before this, but conveyor systems are rigid. Once you have installed them at a place, they are fixed there. Now, I have a warehouse. I have put 20 robots in it, AMRs as we call it, autonomous mobile robot. I have put in a warehouse. Today, I want to move to a bigger facility. I can take them with me and put 40 of them in a bigger facility. So this is what fast deployment means for these robots. Now, the most laborious work was picking material from one place and taking to another, which was non-value adding, and there were a lot of movement. There were a lot of people doing that, and it was not something which people also look forward to doing as their day-to-day job. So now these robots have solved that. Pick material from one place, take it to another. Similarly, storage. Now this is a shuttle system which stores cartons vertically. So you have let's say a fashion warehouse or a grocery warehouse, and you are storing materials. So you can go 20 meter high, 30 meter high using. Humanly it is not possible to pick material from above 2 meters, right? Now, in this, you can pick material from 20 meters also, 30 meters also. So the warehousing concept, Amazon started this actually, has moved away from the square meter of space to cubic meter of space. Now, that is what these technologies do. Then there is sorting. Now you are talking of, let's say, you have for a bank, right? I'm giving an example of finance. So for a bank, you have to send your couriers. Now there are 30,000 letters in a day which are going out. How do you sort them as per PIN code? Put it on this robot, it will take and tilt it into the bag which is for, let's say, zip code 101. The other one is for zip code 102. So it will keep sorting the material on its own. So this is another example of where the system is able to take a decision on real time where to put it, because now it has scanned and then information has the barcode was scanned, the information went, it took a decision. So there is certain example of artificial intelligence which is built in it. Then again, what the ultimate goal of artificial intelligence is to replicate what a human being is able to do. This is another example of what a human being does. Goes to a store, pick material from a carton or pick that carton up and take it to the picking station, where when you order on Amazon, so they pick a carton, pick material, 2 bottles of shampoo, pack it and send it out. So this robot, like human being, goes to racking, pick at a time, it can pick 7 of them, pick that and take it to a packing station. So this is another technology which has changed how work is being done manually versus automatic, using a lot of artificial intelligence again. Now, these are all which are, I'll say these are all mechanical products which has put artificial intelligence in forefront. But there are a few products which are purely artificial intelligence products. You'll see a lot of them in examples when fintech tech guys talk about it. This is something which is, we are trying to replicate what a human being can do. This is a typical robot which sees and picks material. But now what has happened in last 2-3 years, the seeing, you must be knowing, it is there on a lot of social media. Eyes are 560 or 74 megapixel, right? So now the power of cameras is increasing. Not as good as human eyes, but the power of cameras are increasing. I can see, and on back end, the image processing, the machine learning, the artificial intelligence, the self-learning softwares are making image processing very fast. So now I can see real time what I have to pick. Let's say in a carton, there are 10 different materials. And I say, pick.
Amit, sorry to interrupt you. Can you start rounding up as far as your time is? Okay. Thank you very much.
This is the ultimate example of artificial intelligence, which I want to show. So this will, the robot will see, I have given a command that pick that shampoo bottle of Head and Shoulder. The robot will see where it is. It will go there, pick it. Now, what artificial intelligence, it's like a human being replicating a human arm. So it has seen, taken an image, processed the image, compared it what it was supposed to pick. The robot is told to go 20 mm to the left, go 10 mm down, pick this material and put it in a customer tote. So this is what a human being would have been doing using the eyes and mind coordination and eye-hand coordination. Now a robot using a computer, using artificial intelligence building, image processing, 3D depth, knowledge of the area that, okay, how deep it has to go, where the material is lying. It is able to pick that as a human being. Now this is an evolving technology, what I'm showing you. We are able to do 10, 12 picks per minute. A human being can do a lot more than that, right? So we are in process of building those systems which can be as smart as human beings. We are still, intelligence is always better than the artificial intelligence which we are building, but we are there that we have been able to crack a bit of human intelligence and replicate that. So this is what the role of artificial intelligence has been in warehousing space, in robotic space. And this is what I want to talk for a short duration. Thank you very much. I'm open to questions if there are any, if time permits.
Amit, thank you very much for the examples that you've given. I'd have only one quick question, maybe. Yes. Your journey from India to the Netherlands or in other parts of the world. What would be the one tip you would give to those who are watching as something they would should take forward in this space of technology?
Yeah, I see a lot of Indian guys here, so it's a.
Well, that's what you're seeing is only the speakers, but what is actually there is a lot of people outside watching the webcast. Okay. So that will be a mix of both Dutch, Indian, European.
Now, for Indian companies, the world is a very big playing field, and we are right there at the technology cusp that everybody knows Indians that we are really good at these things. So it's a wonderful opportunity. Yes, from expansion perspective, Netherlands have been very good to us. It has opened doors for Europe. The tip for me is that as an Indian company, we have to be very consistent with what the Europeans or the developed countries expect. And we need to be very sure of what we are doing in these countries.
Thank you very much for your time that you've taken out for us and your lovely presentation, which gives a good idea of what happens in the warehousing field with IAI. And I'm sure if people have other questions, they'll know how to reach out to you in another forum. And thank you very much one more time for your time. I will now proceed to the next speaker. We have covered the presentation on AI specifically, and so we'll now be moving to a block on fintech. The other topic that is today's focus. And Mr. Don Ginzel, CEO of Holland Fintech, will be speaking on the fintech scene in the Netherlands. Don, the floor is yours. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Prasi, and thank you for having me here on the show. It's great to see all these launches and the interaction between Indian and European organizations. I think there's a lot of ground to gain by further collaboration. So I hope to spark a little bit of that with my presentation as well. Again, just 1 second to get all the sharing materials going. This should be it.
Yes, we can see it. Thank you. Yes.
Great. So very briefly, my name is Don Ginzel. I'm the founder of Holland Fintech, which is basically a network that brings together all different stakeholders and actors in the financial industry that are somehow active with financial innovation. That's why we use the word fintech, but of course it has quite a wide scope because you look at regulatory changes besides also technology changes. But there's just a lot going on in the financial industry. Amongst the president of the Dutch AI Coalition Working Group Finance. So that's also where we actually have a dedicated group looking at developments in artificial intelligence from a finance perspective. So I'm really glad that we've got this session going. I hope to inform you a little bit about developments in the Dutch market. I'll basically complement hopefully what Arnoud Besseling was sharing earlier from NFIA. You'll probably see some overlap, so I'll keep the pace in. But I'm looking forward to this, and definitely also would like to extend the invitation to reach out should you want to learn more or connect to the fintech ecosystem in the Netherlands or in Europe, because that's actually what we're for. Looking forward to support you there. To get it started, I think already briefly mentioned, the Netherlands is just a very wet country, mostly below sea level, and that sparked a lot of collaboration. And I think it's interesting why we mentioned that is because it also sparked a lot of collaboration in financial services. So you look at, for example, at sharing risks, that sparked the first insurance companies, sharing risks from an investment perspective, that sparked the first joint stock companies, and in the end also the first stock exchange in Amsterdam. And still now today, you see that actually one of the main characteristics is that we like to talk about everything on end. That's why we still don't have a government, as was mentioned also by Arnoud. But there's a lot of consensus culture and a lot of sharing going on. And I think you'll see that in the way that we consume financial services as well. How we're situated in Europe was, I think, also related to by Arnoud as well. Just good to remember that we're basically a very large city. I think if you would put the map of a city like London on the map of the Netherlands, it's mostly covered. Right, so it's relatively small. Within 2 hours, you're actually, if you drive for 2 hours, you're out of the country. So that's just good to understand that everything's really compact with only 17 million people in there, but still giving you access to 450 million people across Europe, where you see that in general, the Dutch are relatively focused on the UK and the US as trade partners. That's also why I think we're very much focused on the English language as well. The next one we're focused on is actually Germany, our biggest trade partner directly. So the whole German-speaking region is a very strong relationship for us. And generally, if you look at the characteristics, we have a lot of things in common with the Nordics with regard to digital adoption, for example. So that's also where you see very strong relationships. So it was nice also to hear about chapters being launched in Denmark and Sweden, for example, earlier. So as said, the Dutch are very digital. Here you can see some of the characteristics. This is, by the way, a very useful report that does country reports across the world on digital adoption in each country. And you'll see that in general, people have multiple mobile devices. They're very much used to consuming products or ordering products online. And you see actually a really strong decline in branch offices of banks, physical stores, and other things. And what are on the rise especially are delivery services, online portals, and trust in that level. So because of this, it's a really interesting ground as well to actually test new products, because you can basically launch products in English in the Dutch market, which will be adopted regardless of that. So they don't have to be in Dutch per se, as long as they have the trust of being regulated properly and having the proper communication, of course. But it makes it really interesting to move out here to test what Europeans might think about solutions before you actually move to other countries where you might need to invest, for example, in translations. So what kind of companies could you expect here? As it's a small country, you also find a lot of international companies here. So here you see a bit of a collection on the banking side, where the names you in any case need to know are Rabobank, ING, the Volksbank, and ABN AMRO as the bigger Dutch organizations you should be familiar with. The same goes for asset management and insurance, where you'll see that Aegon, Achmea, APG, MN, and Robeco are some of the names you should definitely be familiar with, which have a Dutch background. But again, this is also very much an international established field with a lot of players from across the world that have set up shop in the Netherlands. So if we then move a bit more to the fintech perspective, we've seen that actually there's a lot of startups that already have started way before we started using the word fintech for startups. But we've been mapping out the growth of the ecosystem since 2014. And here you can see a bit of a view of how that grew over the years. If we actually look at the latest version we did this year, you actually see a map of around 1,200 organizations that are active in the fintech field across all different levels, right? So I think fintech is a very complex field because it doesn't include one type of company. We talk about regulated entities that offer that are challengers towards traditional players, but we also see a very strong supportive ecosystem that actually offers tech solutions to financial services companies, which is here the outer ring actually in the graph that you see. And so you see that the windmill is getting smaller and smaller and the graph is getting bigger and bigger. So we're actually on our own innovation roadmap here to figure out how do we present this ecosystem in a proper way for everyone to grasp it in one view, but quite a challenge nonetheless. So we definitely invite you also to dive in deeper and discover what all these organizations are doing. And hopefully they'll spark you as well, because they might show you the way on what competition might look like. At the same time, it also gives you an idea on what problems are being solved in the market, which tells a lot about what's going on here. To zoom in a bit on some of the household names you should be aware of, Adyen, I think, is the most famous fintech company we have in the Netherlands. It was a unicorn until it got listed on the stock exchange, but it's still doing very well. It's a large payment provider, actually currently with a banking license, and they support merchants in allowing them to accept any kind of payments across the world in any country. Molly is in a similar business, also a unicorn, and so is Bank, the neobank based here in the Netherlands. And they were actually in the news this week very nicely as the first neobank starting to provide mortgages across Europe. Other names you should know of is Flow Traders. It's also quite an example that is here. It's a listed company that is a market maker for financial markets. This is also actually a really big field, especially since the beginning of this year. Amsterdam took over a lot of the volume from London following Brexit. So actually, it's now the largest trading venue in Europe. And especially the market makers and digital traders also using AI are actually it's a very big component here of the financial industry. And you actually also see that gets followed, for example, from a retail perspective, where we see, for example, Bucks as a neo broker that, for example, allows companies to trade or allows people to actually trade very, very easily and make therefore trade much more accessible for other people. Well, as I've shown some other names, they're all in either fraud prevention, AI tooling, funding, or payment requests, for example. There's much to tell, but as time is short, I'll keep it a bit brief. Of course, these names you should also be aware of. The regulators that allow you to actually do financial business in the Netherlands. The Ministry of Finance plays an important role also through their Fintech Action Plan that they launched 2 years ago to support development of Fintech in the region. We have the Privacy Authority on the bottom left. Then we have the Dutch Central Bank, the Financial Markets Authority, and the Competition Authority. And all these actors are really, really active in the financial field as they try to keep an eye on how the market is evolving. And they're generally seen as tight but strict but just regulators. They're definitely not the most easygoing across Europe, but they're seen as very trustworthy. And once you've got your license secured here, it's relatively easy to roll out across Europe. To wrap that up, generally, we see that it's quite a favorable landscape to land with the tech business. So we see very much still an inflow of tech companies from across the world that set up a European base in the Netherlands. Also, one of the reasons is actually that it's still a relatively attractive place for talents to move to. And so I think that's definitely worth exploring if you're interested in actually doing business here. If you want to get to know a lot of people, we recommend you to actually check out Amsterdam Fintech Week. This is actually a graph of what happened last year, but next year in September, where there will be another Amsterdam Fintech Week, well, it will be very easy to actually connect to all the players in the ecosystem all in one go.
Don, I'm going to ask you to start rounding up because
yes, I am wrapping up. Thank you, Percy. Just very briefly about Holland Fintech, we're very much keen to support everyone on financial inclusion and digital inclusion, where we believe there's a lot of power still to be gained. And that's why we work with this large fintech ecosystem that works across Europe, but also outside of that. So a very strong invitation for everyone who has interest in that to connect to us. And I'll wrap up with that, Percy. Thank you very much for listening in, everyone, and looking forward to further connect.
Don, thank you very much for your presentation. And I love the way your little windmill has shrunk over time and the companies have grown. It's a lovely way of depicting it. And I can imagine the challenge you're going to have the coming years to manage with the same graphic. But maybe that's for the next time. But exactly. Thank you very much. Very clear. And I'm going to move on to the next speaker as we are running a little bit late, but nonetheless, I think enough time to manage everybody's speeches clearly. The next speaker is Mr. Krish Subramaniam, co-founder and CEO Chargebee. He will be speaking on the journey of a global SaaS fintech company from India. Krish, the floor is yours. And thank you for joining us.
Thank you. Goedemorgen. Good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Very happy to be here. I moved to Amsterdam 5 months back. So happy to be here. Thank you. I'm co-founder and CEO of Chargebee. My name is Krish, and I lead a global team of 800 people, with 80% of the team based in India and about 100 plus people in USA. And roughly 46 members in Europe, out of which 33 people are in Amsterdam. And very proud to say that we have 10 different nationalities working out of the European office in 8 different countries. And the Amsterdam office itself is 33 people, including me, with about 10 different nationalities. Right? It's a fantastic melting pot of cultures and the team that has come together. So what we do at Chargebee is subscription management and billing as a product. Right? It's a global product serving customers in 53 countries. Our users use the product from more than 5,000 cities globally, with 93% of our customers from North America and Europe. 51% of our customers are in North America, 42% is Europe, and the rest is Asia Pacific. Is a spread of our customers. The same applies to the logos and the customers. We serve more than 4,000 plus paying customers and several thousand freemium customers. So it's a software as a service product that has a global footprint of employees in 120 cities and customers in 53 countries. In terms of context, who we are, we started the company in 2011. 4 of us started the company, including me. My co-founders come from Zoho, where they learned how to build products. And I come from software. I'm a software engineer by training and learned product implementations globally, serving Fortune 500 customers. And we bootstrapped the company initially through the first year and a half before we raised capital. And in the last 8 years, we have also, after the bootstrapping phase, we have raised from some of the global investors like Axel, Tiger Global, Insight Venture Partners, SteadView, Sapphire Ventures, over $220 million of capital, and we are valued at about more than $1 billion in value as a company. Right? Enough about us. Let's talk about our customers and problem space. So what we do is billing, right? In a traditional sense, billing is one of the boring parts of a business, but absolutely essential, right? But I want to introduce you to the concept of relevance of billing in the modern fintech space, highly relevant for a world that is highly Uberized, right? Like every one of us are familiar with the experience of products like Uber or Taos Bazaar or Uber Eats. We are now, every company is now becoming extremely customer centric, where there is an app for everything, or every business is actually using so many different products, including the way we are using Zoom, right? It has become a utility and an essential tool for us to be able to do everyday business, right? In such a world where everything is becoming a subscription and every company is in some ways a software company at heart, where every manufacturing company also has a lot of software jobs today, right? And the world is getting SaaSified and subscription driven because of the consumption pattern of the customers. And that is a world in which ChargeBee is highly relevant, where we provide subscription management and billing as an infrastructure layer for every business, right? A case in point is a customer like a Freshworks, which recently went IPO a couple of months back. They started with using ChargeBee when they were in the early millions, and scaled through $400 million in annual recurring revenue, 13 different products built with ChargeBee all the way from very early stage through different stages. And that's the relevance of ChargeBee. We do not serve customers only in enterprise or early segment. Rather, our dream is to continue powering customers from all the way from idea through IPO and beyond journey, right, as an infrastructure layer, right? Just like how AWS provides Amazon Web Services and Google Cloud, all of them provide the hosting services, we provide the billing layer. Now, why is this relevant? This is a forum with highly relevant with a lot of folks in the chartered accountancy, right, in the field of accounting. So I want to, pretty sure you are very familiar with all of this and you are the experts, but I will still talk in the terminology of why we are relevant, which is we are familiar with the concepts of front office, which is a CRM systems. And then the back office usually is called the accounting systems, are referred in the back office, right? And then there was also the concept of the middle office, which has gone away from everyday parlance and usage, but generally it used to be referred to as IT resources and risk management. All of that used to be part of the middle office. But what is making a comeback in a modern world is the customer is at the heart of every business and around which we build everything, right? Which includes all the way from how you acquire customers, because today it's not about cost plus margin equals profit kind of a model, right? And instead, what is actually happening is the only way a business is able to make money is by acquiring a customer and making sure that you continue to remain a customer, right? Imagine you as a customer of Uber, and the only way Uber will make more money is if you continue to remain a happy user of Uber through the lifetime journey. And that means you are basically renewing your relationship with the business again and again and again, right? And that means, right, this customer relationship becomes the heart, and more importantly, billing and pricing, all of them plays a huge role in how you are able to service your customers. The relevance of all of this to this particular forum is finance is not just a back office function, but it's becoming a highly strategic growth function in every modern subscription business. And what ChargeBee offers is a billing system that orchestrates and automates a lot of components for these modern subscription businesses to be able to do that, right? For a modern CFO, there are 3 growth levers that they think of when it comes to growing any subscription-driven business. One is, how do you acquire more customers? how do you retain your customers, right? Because retaining every customer is 7 times better than getting one more new customer. But of course, you want to do both, but that's why retention becomes a huge function. And then the third one is pricing, which is we live in a global world, right? And the only way we are able to operate almost like a local company is if you are able to embrace the way in which, let's say, a payment method like iDeal is highly relevant in Netherlands, or a UPI payments is highly relevant in India, right? That localization in accepting payments globally becomes a key factor for you to be a global company that can act local. And then the ability to be able to iteratively test your price points at which you are able to get customers becomes the key, because 1% increase in your pricing can have 11% effect in your bottom line, impact in your bottom line. And then the decision making becomes everything gets driven through analytics, right? So these are some of the key areas that a product like ChargeBee becomes a heartbeat for a modern subscription business is what we do. So a digitally native cloud first company like us have built our early customer base through inbound acquisition model, right? We are a team that has been building this for 10 years. And early days, through the first 5-6 years of building the product, we built this out of India while acquiring customers globally through what is called as the inbound marketing, which is mainly Google AdWords, Google search, right? Customers would find us through the online internet, and then they would actually try the product before they buy the product, right? So we used to acquire customers through online forums, Medium, initial days when we were building for smaller customers. And then as our customers grew, we expanded our footprint. And today we have the teams built locally, right, with fully staffed teams that services a customer, acquires a customer with local teams all over the globe. And we are continuing to expand this footprint as we continue to serve larger customers like BMW or KPMG, Deloitte, right, Toyota Australia, right? And we continue to serve larger and larger customers, and we are continuing to build this presence in regions like this, right? And so that's the journey of ChargeBee.
Sorry, I'm going to interrupt you to ask you to round up, but I think you were on your last words, but I'll just...
Yes. Yeah, I'm done. So this is the relevance of what we do, right? And where we are in the journey, and extremely excited about continuing to build our European presence and a global office with by building the team in Netherlands. I'm extremely thankful for the support from everyone, including NFIA, right, and everyone else who have helped us settle down in the last 2-3 years, and to be able to continue expanding the team. And we are very excited about the journey where we hope to be able to grow from the 46 people to 100 people in the next year in the European region. And thank you for all the support. I hope this was informational and useful when it comes to sharing through our journey, right? And wishing you all the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Krish, and thank you. Very interesting to hear your journey from India to the Netherlands and beyond. And I think you've given us quite a few things to think about, also for businesses outside of the fintech space, but also within the fintech space. So thank you very much for taking the time. And I would have liked to ask you a question, but we are running a little bit slow. We're going to running a little late, so maybe I'll pose the question offline at a certain point. But online, I would like to go on to the next speaker to ensure that their agendas are not in any way blocked longer than necessary.
Right.
So thank you
for the opportunity.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Our next speaker will be speaking on escrow in fintech. It is Mr. Ashwin Chawla. He's the CEO and founder of Escrow Pay. Ashwin, the floor is yours, and you've been in both the Netherlands and India and Dubai space, so we look forward to hearing from you.
Yes, hi, thank you very much. And just before I start, a big thanks to Vikas, Prachi, His Excellency Mr. Pradeep Rawat, and the eminent panel of speakers today, and also to all the audience who's actually hearing this particular session. Thank you so much for your time. Just a brief about ourselves and what we do. So like everybody else said, they're already in Netherlands. We did incorporate a company, but still finding out ways of how soon can we actually be physically present in Netherlands and expand our business. But right now I am in Dubai and taking the call from here, but it's a pleasure to be connected. And our business, in fact, is around escrows. So escrow as a piece in the country what we offer today is a fully cloud-based digital escrow platform. And what we are building for SMEs, especially for an Indian region, is that it's a digitized treasury system. It's a SaaS-based model which helps SMEs to get paid on time. In fact, we also run a hashtag saying getting paid on time. So payments is a big problem, getting paid on time. Just to give you an idea, about $13 billion as per reports are still stuck for SMEs in the country. And it takes typically, if you talk about the Indian context, there is a typical credit period of about 15 days to as high as 45, 60 days. But due to COVID and other scenarios emerging, the payments are getting delayed, and that has become like a huge problem. And that typically what we've seen in the recent days is that it goes even beyond 90 days of the due date, which makes it about half a year delay in payments. So what we are trying to do here is to digitize that process of payment collection so that the payments can be collected on time and the businesses can thrive. And typically, if one was to go to a bank to open an escrow account today, it takes in excess of about 60 plus days, whereas the SMBs can drop the idea, or it's a very painful affair in terms of documentation. So what we've done is that today we offer a digitized form of escrow accounts in under 2 minutes. If you go to a bank, there are hundreds of pages of documents that one needs to sign in terms of compliances. But what we've done is we've just dropped down the number of pages to just 10 pages and all. And that makes the entire process very, very fast. We've digitized, in fact, we are perhaps the first company in the world to be offering digitized escrow accounts or opening of escrow accounts or servicing escrow accounts via WhatsApp. So we have now brought down, it's a straight line, it's a straight code distributed via WhatsApp. And people can come, whether it is entity verification, whether it is collection of payments, remote settlements, everything is done on WhatsApp. And now we plan to actually bring the similar technology, what we have in India, to the Netherlands. And we have formed the company, some time back, and now trying to figure out a way of how soon we could start in this wonderful country. Just taking you a little back, about 2.5 years back, I got the opportunity of being part of the trade delegation to Netherlands. Happened to visit offices of ADIN, and we did visit offices of Holland Fintech as well. And I we did meet, Don and I met there as well in the office, had a great discussion on fintech, and that's how we set up the firm. But taking it forward, we are just waiting for the right opportunity. But what we do in India today is that we have these largest banks in the country as our partners, and on the other hand, if you see on the right hand side, we've got these largest partners in terms of the gateways. We've included all that into our technology trustees at the bottom. Everybody operates out of a system that is distributing issuance of escrow accounts via WhatsApp. And then we have these government institutions also integrated into the system, which is the NPCI, the eNASH, which is for recurring payments, or NSDL, which takes care of the identity protocol and the other scenarios. So what we offer today, again, is an escrow account, which has not been done in the past, the world over, in under 2 minutes, and also distributed via WhatsApp. So I believe that this is a humble contribution from our side to the fintech ecosystem around the world. Just to let you know how it works, one is, of course, the account onboarding. So when we onboard a client, we are currently operating in the B2B space. So onboarding is the first thing, is recognizing the fraudulent accounts, checking the backend checks. Once that is done, the entire process is completely online. Identity authentication is done via NSDL. Once the identity is confirmed, we allow the access to deposit funds into the escrow account via, in India, we use the NEFT, RTGS, UPI, debit cards, wallets, eNASH, and so on. And then the transaction authorized by the transacting parties, there could be two outcomes of the transaction. One is a success or the no success. If it's a success, then it enters into remote settlement. We settle the funds. And if it is no success, it lands itself into a dispute management system, which is again digitized, and it offers the fastest way of resolving disputes between parties via the escrow accounts. That's about it from our side, and happy to be answering any questions. I was given an idea of keeping it short, so I've kept it very, very crisp, and happy to answer any questions if you have on escrows.
Ashwin, thank you very much for this indeed crisp presentation. And as a moderator, I can't be more happy because I need the time. But having said that, it was very, very, very interesting and also good to see that you have a global mindset in this. I have one question I think that would come out also for our viewers is that, of course, in the Netherlands, for example, a lot of escrow is done with, in a way you see, certain the notary plays a role. There's a lot of stuff with KYC, etc. So when you're looking at expanding, let's say in the Netherlands or Europe in a broader sense, what are the hurdles that you see that you will be facing, before you can, take a product that is doing very well, let's say in India, and having to actually be able to launch it here?
I think, Prachi, it's a great question. So before coming to hurdles, I believe, if you look at Netherlands, the notarization is largely towards the real estate transactions, where the notary takes over, right? But there are other transactions which are business transactions, buying secondhand cars, for example, or buying unlisted shares, for example, and so on. Any transaction that is in excess of about 100,000 or maybe a 50,000 euro transaction also brings in certain kind of risk element in transactions. So how we plan to do it is that we bring the technology there, we deal with multiple banks. But the hurdles that may come or which we are currently evaluating is that the time taken by regulators in licensing, that's one, because the escrow is, fairly new, though it is thriving in London side. But I believe that escrows have not been we've not seen digitization of escrows primarily in the Netherlands so far. So considering that, the regulators, look at this as a new concept, we have taken legal guidance from our lawyers in Amsterdam. And we believe that the government is still contemplating whether, how soon this can be granted. So if it takes about 6 months or so, it's a hurdle. If certain regulations in terms of capital requirements, because we offer technology, we're not a bank, we are not a per se a system. So we get integrated with leading banks and trustee companies to make sure that our clients are serviced. So the other hurdle that could perhaps come in is that if there is a capital requirement of a minimum, a threshold to enter such a space, which is not there in India so far. But and it's not there in other markets as well where we are. So Dubai, there is no threshold, for example, where I'm speaking from right now. And US also, there is primarily no threshold. But if you see the US market also, Goldman Sachs and JP Morgan entering into digital escrow space is a good validation to what the niche we picked up a couple of years back. This is our 7th year in business, and we believe that by expanding this service in the EU region, especially, and that's the reason we incorporated the company, thanks to, friends like you and Vikas who are helping us to actually take this forward. We believe that very soon we should be active in the Netherlands.
Thank you very much for your answer to this question. And I'm now going to hurry to the next speaker. And thank you very much for taking the time, despite being in Dubai. So again, thank you very much. And I hope to see you soon offline again. So now we continue to the next speaker. So now we've sort of completed our block on fintech and the CEOs that were involved in that. And now we will we'll go back to a little bit on the government side and the way things are viewed from that perspective. So I heartily welcome Mr. Mahavir Singhviji, Joint Secretary, Ministry of External Affairs. He will be speaking on the supporting self-reliant India through ICI's global presence. Sir, the floor is yours. And Mahavir, can you please?
Thank you. Thank you, Prachi.
Yeah. I can't see you at the moment, so I hope you can turn on your camera because at the moment I'm not.
Can you turn on the camera, please? I think the camera is on.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Then, I can hear you clearly. Yes, sir, I can hear you clearly. I just asked ICA Tech to just check that the people can see it as well.
Huh? Muted from host. I think it's muted from the host side.
Tech support, can you please ensure that Mahavirji is visible and also visible for the audience? Can you? They're saying there is my.
We can see him now.
Yeah. Okay. So please, sorry to interrupt you, but please go ahead.
Thank you, Prachi. His Excellency Pradeep Kumar Rawat, Ambassador of India to the Kingdom of Netherlands, ICI President Mr. Niharanjan Jambusaria, Dr. Vikas Chaturvedi, Chairman of ICI Netherlands chapters, esteemed speakers today, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you very much, first of all, Vikas, for inviting me to be present here today in this India Symposium 2021. It is indeed a great pleasure for me, being a chartered accountant myself, to participate in the activities of chartered accountants. And I'm very happy to see that the chapters abroad of the ICA are taking initiatives to help, communicate with the industry and also disseminate the knowledge both about the India and the new technologies, and especially this particular topic which you have chosen, fintech and artificial intelligence, I think is very, very important in present times. And I must thank you for that. Let me also congratulate both the Sweden and Denmark representative office for starting their journey and becoming a part of the ICI's global
Mahavir, sorry to interrupt you. I'm getting messages in from participants that they cannot see you live, and I would hate for them to miss your story. So one more time, can I ask you to maybe switch off your camera and turn it on one more time to just see that we can...
I think there is some technical glitch. Perhaps I can continue like that. But
if you wouldn't mind, I mean, we can take 2 minutes. If you can just get out of the meeting and come back in, and we can give it one try if you're willing. And if it doesn't work,
okay.
Then we continue.
And it's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Sorry. So go ahead.
We can reconnect. Maybe.
Yeah. If you can try, then to the audience, we wait sort of small technical glitches. It doesn't matter what we try, but certain things do come and go. Please hold on for a few minutes. Yes, we can see you, sir. Thank you very much. This way, go ahead.
Now, can you hear me? And can
yes,
you see me?
Yes, we can hear you and we can see you. And we can
all
see
right.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
So, I was on this, that I was congratulating both the Sweden and the Denmark representative office for now becoming a part of the ICI global network. And I'm sure, as mentioned by Mr. Rajesh Gandhi, that they have around 65 members there, and I think they are on their way to become the full-fledged overseas chapter. And that's, I think, is very wonderful. And I wish them all the best for their journey in this global network. The topic which has been given to me is how ICI's global presence can support the vision of self-reliant India. And I think nothing can be a better example than this symposium which you have organized. I think dissemination of information and the programs of the government and also, the various schemes of the government is very, very important. And this particular, symposium or the kind of, workshops and seminars and conferences which are organized by the ICI global chapters are very important in that direction. As you all know, that COVID-19 pandemic has hit almost all the economies of the world, and we were also not, isolated from that. We had suffered a lot, and like all other economies of the world. And in that context, the Minister launched the Atmanirbhar Bharat, of the self-reliant India movement. And as you all know, that there were 5 pillars of Atmanirbhar Bharat: economy, infrastructure, systems, vibrant demography, and demand. And in all these sectors, I think in all these pillars, there was a package more than 20 lakh crores. It is equivalent to about 30% of India's GDP was announced. And this, I think the package was everyone, including cottage industries, MSMEs, laborers, middle class, other industries. So I think everyone was included in that. And the idea was to, put India at the center of global supply chains. It is not to isolate India, but to actually enable how we can become the nerve center of the global supply chains. We actually intended, through building self-sufficiency, to contribute towards the towards mitigating the disruptions in the global supply chain by enhancing availability of products where we have the capacity and build capacities where we have the potential to do so. And in that context, I think the Atmanirbhar Bharat package accelerated our pace of structural reforms, redefinition of MSMEs, commercialization of mineral sectors, agriculture, labor reforms, privatization of public sector undertakings, and so on. Various schemes were launched like One Nation, One Ration Card, production-linked incentive schemes, and so on. So I think one of the important part which I think ICI chapters abroad can undertake and to support is to disseminate information about this, in the local communities, local industries, local chartered accountants. I think chartered accountants are the professionals which they are not only finance professionals, but now they are professionals in an overall sense. They have the knowledge. They can advise people. They can advise industries on investment, on joint ventures, on mergers, acquisitions. I think these are all very, very important aspects. And there we perhaps we would request all the chapters to get in touch with our missions abroad. And as the president said in the beginning when he was addressing that keeping this in mind, our foreign secretary addressed the ICI community way back in July 2020, and during that interaction it was mentioned that all the ICI chapters abroad would be treated at par with other apex industry organizations like CII, ASSOCHAM, FICCI, and so on. So I think that's a very important kind of a responsibility which was given to you. The recognition means that you would, basically get all the benefits which are enjoyed by these trade bodies. For example, consular facilitations in terms of your documentation, document attestations, and so on. I think that's something very, very important in terms of forging linkages between the various countries. Our ambassador talked about how the trade and the economic relationship between India and Netherlands is getting stronger. I think you can be a part of that by disseminating the knowledge about all these various schemes of the government. One of the example I would give you, I think perhaps all the chapters of ICI can undertake is that we would have our budget soon. And budget also has a lot of policy, reforms and policy dimensions, and several schemes are announced. It also has not many, information about the reforms in terms of taxations, the tax structures of the country, the various incentives being given to the industry. I think I would urge all the ICI chapters to organize. Being you are an expert in finance and taxation, I would say that you should organize, various kind of events during the budget presentation, after the budget presentation, and disseminate the information about the schemes and the provisions of the budget among the local communities. One of the important things which I saw today is, you have brought together so many, industry stakeholders and, disseminated what they do actually. And I would also urge you to similarly invite industry leaders from India to tell their stories and what they do and what they require. Basically, that would help in bringing together both sides to forge, better connection and better connectivity and facilitate, growing of trade relations between the two countries. I think essentially these are certain things which I think can be looked into. NRIs, for example, plays a very important part in, bringing inward FDI. But if you compare it to China is more than, I think, 60% of their, diaspora investing. The FDI of China, the foreign direct investment in China, almost 60%, more than that, is contributed by their diaspora abroad. I think this is something which we also need to emulate and see that how we can, motivate them and then to also disseminate the informations about our, strains as well as our schemes. This is something I think all chapters should do, and they should proactively interact with our embassies, proactively interact with our missions, and try and see what you can do together and with the missions to disseminate. You can take part in road shows being organized, or you can organize on your own certain things. You can also undertake research programs where you can collect data from various industries, businesses, and can disseminate here to the required people and required industry. I think these are something which would help both the countries, or the countries across the world, to get linked back to India. I think that would be very, very helpful if the ICI chapters abroad can do that. I think our intention to open up now, we have almost 45 chapters in different cities of the world, and the ICI has presence in more than 70 countries. And this is phenomenal. I think not only to connect back to India, but among all the chapters, members themselves, I think is very, very important. Networking is very important, I think, and these chapters provide a very important opportunity to network among all the the institute members. We have more than 40,000 institute members who are situated abroad, and that's a great strength for the institute itself. And I think that needs to be leveraged. So with that, I think I would end my submissions here and wish you all the very best. And thank you once again for inviting me.
Thank you, sir. I was about to interrupt you to ask you to round up, but you've done it way in the time. So thank you very much. Thank you very much for your contribution and taking out the time and your vision for how ICI and the chapters can take it forward. I'm sure a lot have heard it, and I'm sure they will take those steps and measures. And once again, thank you very much for your time, sir. I now go to the state of Haryana. Mr. Manish Chandan, Head State eGov Government Mission Team, Department of IT, Electronics and Communications of the Haryana government, and he will speak on the opportunities for fintech in Haryana for European companies. Mr. Chandan, the floor is yours.
Thank you very much. I hope I'm audible.
Yes, you are, sir. And
thank you very much. Thank you, India Symposium 2021, and all the eminent speakers and the audience. So today I'll be presenting. Can I have the presentation?
Can you share it, sir, from the screen?
Yeah.
Or,
No, I have shared it already with your team. Anyways, if it's not there, I can speak.
No, it's there. It's there. We had asked most of the speakers to share it ahead of time, but it's okay. Fine, fair enough. The tech team, could you please share Mr. Chandan's presentation for the Haryana government?
So by the time they are doing it, so I'll just
please go ahead and then
continue.
So
I just welcome all the industry, all the participants, and would like to present Haryana as a Fintech Hub. As you are all aware, Haryana is in the heart of the country, and most of the state, around 1/3 of the state, is in the national capital region. So that gives excellent opportunity for the industry and for the academia to come and invest in Haryana. So as you are aware, Gurgaon is the fastest growing district, or Haryana is primary district in Haryana, which is fastest in the IT growth rate. It is number 2 in the startup ecosystem. State is doing many steps to promote ease of doing business in Haryana. Yeah, presentation is there now. Second slide, please. Yeah, thank you.
go ahead, sir, and we will get it on.
There is a strong infrastructure support. It's a leading manufacturing hub. The GDP is around 77 billion. It is, though being a small state and around with 25 million population, Haryana contributes to the GST and is number 6 throughout the country. Haryana is also the leading agriculture producer and contributes 14.1% in the country. Though it is small, but the impact is big. Next slide, please. So advantages of coming to Haryana. both with regard to the social and human capital and physical infrastructure. The IT ecosystem is very strong. It has been the base for the knowledge industry. IT, ITES, finance, electronics, all biotechnology, they are there. They are one of the first, Haryana is the first preference for large Indian and multinational companies. There is a skilled and rich labor pool in Haryana, largest skilled labor pool and ideal destination for knowledge-based sectors. As I mentioned, around 1/3 of the state is under NCR, and it's a prominent consumption center. So Gurgaon is a global business hub. More than 250 global Fortune 500 companies are stationed. The cosmopolitan quality of life is there with the city, and the corridor, the warehousing hub, NH8 is acting as a warehousing hub in the Gurgaon. The physical infrastructure is also very strong. It has emerged as the manufacturing hub. Cluster-based development approach is there, and the industry, including IT, electronics, fintech, food and handloom, they are being promoted. So policy infrastructure is very strong. It is first state to have a foreign cooperation department, and it is facilitating foreign companies and investments. So it's world-class infrastructure with regard to the road connectivity. The Kundli Manesar Palwal KMP global corridor and Delhi Mumbai industrial corridors are the USP. Connectivity wise, Haryana has a very good high-speed rail corridor, RRTS, which connects Delhi Panipat and Delhi Alwar. Robust road connectivity, international airport, Kundli Manesar Expressway and Delhi Mumbai Expressway. So this gives Haryana a very good advantage with regard to the setting up of industry. So if you ask me the fintech, next slide please. If you ask the fintech possibilities in Haryana, as I mentioned, Gurgaon is the India's IT growth rate. It is number one in India's number one in the country with regard to the IT growth rate and existing technology infrastructure, and number two as startup ecosystem. Rohtak and Karnal are stepping in as new industrial hubs. Chandigarh and Panchkula are the head offices, government head offices. The very high amount of smartphone penetration is there in Haryana. 100% connectivity both in rural areas as well as in urban areas with the maximum 4G speed. There is single window clearance mechanism as per in Haryana Industrial Promotion Act, and clearances are done with very high precision and speed. So it's leading state in terms of IT export, and it's second largest food contributor in the country. So it's leading state in the implementation of government initiatives with regard to the UPI and the other digital payment methods. Next, please. So Haryana is ready, electronically ready. We can say that Haryana is e-ready, and e-readiness with regard to the government services. You can make out that our 573 odd services are there on the electronic platforms with all the 42 departments onboarded. We have done around 47.5 million applications we have received, and 82% have been responded within time frame. So that is a big achievement, that there is no follow-up required on manual front. The electronic processing and the escalation mechanisms are placed in such a way that the applications or the service requests received from citizens, they are processed within time frame. We are also having a self-made mobile platform, that is Jan Sahayak, and 171 services are there on the mobile platform with tax payment, travel booking, tenders, government calendar, directories. Both Android and iOS are supported. So we talk of cashless, faceless, and safe, cybersecurity wise safe Haryana, and we are empaneled with the CERT. That means that we can conduct security audits and give safe to host certificates for all the government applications, whether it is mobile application or web applications. We have our first of its kind cybersecurity policy, and we are maintaining that policy for cyber safe and resilient Haryana. Some of the next Next slide, please. Some of the flagship initiatives of government, they are all in-house developed. If I mention, so e-Khareed, that is the purchase of agriculture produce portal, and around 40,000 crores have been done in last 1 year. It is all developed in-house and it's maintained in-house. So cashless transactions to the citizens, to the farmers who are getting their, who are selling their produce to the government on the MSP price. So we have a consolidation portal. We are consolidating all the transactions, which are cashless transactions, which are happening across the state, just to maintain a backend to understand that which sector is lagging, so that we can push for, we can encourage that sector for betterment. We have our Haryana Atmanirbhar portal, which offers schemes, financial schemes, the cash delivery at home. That was very useful. It's a tie-up with the postal bank services. It was used to deliver cash at home during the COVID lockdown phase. So, and interest subvention, as Mahavir sir said, that Haryana Atmanirbhar interest subvention schemes were launched to benefit everybody. So Haryana also launched this portal to apply, to get applications and process them there and then. So all the banks are Antodaya Parivar Utthan Yojana, and Haryana is working very strongly to do the upliftment of economic status of those families which have a family income, annual family income of less than 1 lakh rupees. So as I mentioned, Jan Sahayak is a mobile governance platform, Saral platform with the 572 odd services. And there are many COVID initiatives which we took during the time of COVID implementation. Because of the e-readiness of Haryana, we were able to roll out these initiatives at a very fast pace. Next, please. So, with regard to the infrastructure readiness of the state, we have BharatNet. BharatNet is a optical fiber, 24 core fiber, which is laid from blocks to all the Gram Panchayats. All the 6,204 Gram Panchayats are connected. Incubation Center Hub is there in Gurgaon with the 1,20,000 square feet of area. It's world-class infrastructure for and facilities for the startups. We have many technology parks. We have 16,000 plus front-end delivery channels. We call them Atal Seva Kendra or common service centers, and they are facilitating. They are placed across villages, wards, throughout the state. They are facilitating the e-delivery of services to the people who need assistance. So we have provided Wi-Fi hotspot facility. We have a data center, around 8,500 odd locations in Haryana are and Gram Panchayats. They are being provided with very low cost or free Wi-Fi facilities. Next, please. We have a strong policy framework. We have a IT and ESDM policy. I'll brief these policies in next slides. We have communication and connectivity policy. We have enterprise employment policy, startup and entrepreneur policy, and cybersecurity policy. So next, please. So if I briskly touch these policies, IT and ESDM policy focuses on dedicated land parcel allocated to IT and ESDM units. There are relaxations in taxes, stamp duties, and electrical duties to these units. Dedicated nodal officers to facilitate the investors, and approximately 16 to 17 incentive schemes are there, which are approved in principle, which are being provided to this IT and ESDM industry. The startup policy is there. Haryana has registered startup around 3,000 odd startups. Financial and non-financial incentives are being given to them. Heartron multi-skill, as I mentioned, that is a 1.2 lakh square feet to boost the startup ecosystem. We have 3 incubators, NASCOM 10K startup warehouse, IAMAI mobile hub, and the Internet of Things, COE for IoT things, and with 125 seats, they are operational in Gurgaon. We have an MOU with the UNTL, and which focuses on the women entrepreneurs. We are also opening a blockchain center of excellence in Gurgaon. So next, please. So with regard to the cyber security policy, as I mentioned, that we do the incident management, privacy management, compliance, and we have frameworks to manage the application as well as the infrastructure part of the Haryana. We have provisions for setting up cyber security investigation labs and cyber police stations also. They are under process. We are doing capacity building. Cyber security, as we all know, that has to be built in. The hygiene has to be built in. So we are doing capacity building in a big way. And being a certain panel, we are issuing safe to host certificates in-house with our infrastructure and applications which are developed by different departments. So with regard to the communication and connectivity infrastructure, we have provisions with the Indian Telegraph ROW rules, and they were framed in discussion with the TIPA and COAI. There is a single format. Specific guidelines are there for installing towers on government as well as private buildings. Next, please. So Haryana Enterprise and Employment Policy, we target ease of doing business at cost and cost of doing business. It is to generate more than 400,000 jobs, attract investments of 14.5 billion, double the exports, take them to 29 billion US dollars, and contributions from state secondary sector from 27% to 32%. These are our things. Next, please. So as with regard to the fintech and cashless domain, Haryana, after demonetization, has done a lot of activity with we were full of cash economy. We transformed into a less cash economy, and the journey is towards the cashless economy. So we have enabled digital payments across all departments. We have provided POS, card-based payments, Bheem, RuPay, Bharat, UPI, and all the citizen-centric, high citizen-centric touch points. They have cashless facility. So we are paperless. As I mentioned, most of the services, government schemes and services, they are all electronically delivered through our facilitation centers. We are faceless and secure. So there is no human intervention required. Once the services request is received, that is monitored, that is delivered within, and around 82% of our delivery of services received, online application received, is within the right to service time frame. We are promoting debit, credit, and prepaid cards, digital wallets, UPI, internet banking, banking applications. 4.73 billion digital transactions have been recorded, because earlier the government of India gave targets to each state to monitor the cashless transactions when the demonetization happened, and we are number 2 across the state towards the digital payment transactions per capita basis. Next, please. So as I mentioned, we are promoting Bheem, UPI, RuPay, POS, USSD. We are transacting through NPCI, as I mentioned, that food grain procurement portal where 40,000 crore transactions were happened. They were all done on the NPCI format. 36 banks are onboarded with the SLBC, e-wallets. Mostly all e-wallets are there. Utility bill payments, our electricity and power, water bill payments are online, and we have Aadhaar-enabled DBT as well. So next, we are also thinking of having a state Haryana Unified Billing Hub, where a citizen gets an interface to pay all the bills in one go. So multiple billers, they are onboarded, and we can pay the bills in one go. Printing of QR codes, onboarding more and more on PayGov and BBPS, that are our priorities. Next, please. So innovation and entrepreneurial ecosystem, if you say, we have a center for excellence for blockchain technology. We are opening up 10,000 square feet center in Gurgaon with the STPI, and another STPI is planned in Panchkula. We have NASSCOM, as I mentioned, 10K Startup Hub, which is a global startup destination. Early stage technology startups are being facilitated. United Nations Technology Innovation Lab, until that is basically to promote women entrepreneurship and digital inclusion. And there are other Heartron multi-skill development. Heartron is our IT department's agency promoting this. And a 1.2 lakh square feet incubation facility that is operational in Gurgaon. And this IMI is making Gurgaon a global hub for application development, innovation, and testing. And NASSCOM IoT is for health, agriculture, water, transportation, energy, encouraging startups in this domain. So this is what I wanted to say. Haryana is a very good place to invest. So if you ask, we are ready. We have a separate department. We are open. You can come and approach government, and all the facility, all the facilitation would be provided to come and invest in Haryana. Thank you very much.
Thank you, sir, for your elaborate presentation that gives us a very great overview of the ecosystem in Haryana already existing and the targets you hope to meet in the coming months and years. I have maybe only one question, a quick one for you. If you're looking at these, the targets that you see in the future, where do you maybe see that you could use certain companies or investments from abroad? And what particular domain do you maybe see that that would be an interesting place?
Yeah. So as I mentioned, we are having a belt that around 1/3 of the state is under NCR region, and most of the industry is coming on a low. Delhi is very costly now. The areas where near to Delhi are costly. So that 1/3 of the area with Kundli Manesar Expressway, so they are very good with regard to the investment. And we are having IT parks. We have this policy which is promoting the investment into the IT domain. We can sit together. We have industries department representation sitting together. If the industry is coming, willing to come, and things can be worked out, that is government is open for that.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much. And I'm sure our viewers have taken note of your points. And we would like to specifically, through you, thank the state of Haryana for partnering for us with this 9th India Symposium. So that's very important. And I'm taking the words of thanks. I move on to the last point, and that's a very short vote of thanks, which will be done by Ms. Radha Nikade, who is the part of the ICI Netherlands chapter. Radha, the floor is yours.
Thanks, Prachi. Hello, everyone. Hope you all are doing well. First of all, we would like to congratulate everybody on the successful online symposium. On behalf of ICI Netherlands chapter, we would like to thank His Excellency Ambassador of India to Netherlands, Mr. Pradeep Rawat, for the keynote speech. Thanks to Mr. Munish Chandan for highlighting the opportunities for fintech in Haryana, and Mr. Mahavir Singhvi for highlighting self-reliant India through ICI global presence. Thanks to President of ICI, Mr. Jambu Saria, for highlighting role of accountants in AI and fintech. We would also like to thank notable speakers, Mr. Ashwin Chawla, Mr. Krish Subramaniam, Mr. Don Jinsel, Mr. Amit Kumar, and Mr. Arnold Besselling. Heartiest congratulations to CA Rajesh and CA Bhargav for successful launch of Sweden and Denmark ROs respectively. Last but not the least, thanks to Mrs. Prachi van Benderberg for effective moderation of the event, and Mr. Vikas Chaturvedi, Chairman of ICI Netherlands chapter, for conceptualizing and for being the guiding force behind this symposium. Thanks to all your live audience for being part of this event. On behalf of ICI Netherlands chapter, we wish you a great day and year ahead. Thank you.
Thank you, Radha. Thank you very much for these vote of thanks. And with this,
thank you very much.
I would like to end the India Symposium 2021. We hope to see you back next year for our next edition, and that will be a decade and 10th, and definitely points for a celebration. And in the meantime, I wish you all good luck, good health, and great business. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Bye.